Introduction. In the heart of a small, forgotten town, where the rhythm of life unfolded at a leisurely pace and the echoes of yesteryears lingered in the air, a story unfolded, a tale of justice gone awry, of a man who became entangled in the unforgiving web of a system designed to dispense fairness, but occasionally faltering in its pursuit. This is a story not of fiction, but of the harsh reality that can unravel when the scales of justice tip askew. In the quiet simplicity of this town lived Robert Turner, an unassuming figure whose life was defined by modest means and unspoken dreams. Little did he know that the threads of his fate were about to be woven into a tragic tapestry, one that would bind him in chains of injustice for 2 long decades. Our story begins with Robert, a man of routine and humble aspirations, whose world turned upside down when he found himself accused of a crime he did not commit. The wheels of justice, imperfect and prone to missteps, set into motion a series of events that would irrevocably alter the course of his life. As Robert grappled with accusations that seemed surreal, a jury, swayed by the imperfect nature of human judgment, rendered a verdict that would echo through the years. He was sentenced to 20 years in prison, condemned to a life behind bars for a crime that was not his own. Chapter by chapter, we will delve into the intricacies of Robert's journey, from the bewildering moments of his wrongful conviction to the silent cries within the confines of a prison cell. We will witness the erosion of hope as time, relentless and unyielding, marches on, leaving Robert to confront the harsh reality of lost years, faded memories, and a town that metamorphosed in his absence. His release, when it finally came, would be a double-edged sword. The truth, elusive for so long, would emerge as a bitter vindication. The town, once familiar, would welcome him with the cool embrace of indifference, for the world outside had moved on, leaving Robert to navigate the remnants of a life he once knew. Yet, freedom for Robert did not equate to a return to normalcy. At 65, he found himself adrift in a sea of societal expectations that had no place for a man whose prime had been stolen by the very system meant to protect him. Jobless and familyless, he confronted the harsh reality of starting anew, an endeavor made all the more daunting by the indifferent hands of time. In this poignant narrative, we will explore the depths of human resilience as Robert, a man stripped of his past and thrust into an uncertain future, grapples with the benevolence of strangers and the echoes of his own silent despair. For, in the tragedy of justice gone astray, there lies a profound exploration of the human spirit, its capacity to endure, to rebuild, and to find redemption even in the face of an imperfect and sometimes merciless world.
Chapter 1: The Broken Horizon. In the quiet corners of the small town, where whispers of the past intertwined with the gentle rustling of leaves, Robert Turner lived a life characterized by simplicity and routine. As dawn painted the sky with hues of pink and gold, and the town awakened to another day, no one could have predicted the impending storm that would shatter the tranquil horizon of Robert's existence. The day began like any other for Robert, a man whose unassuming presence blended seamlessly into the fabric of the community. His routine was as predictable as the sunrise, a visit to the local bakery, a friendly exchange with neighbors, and a stroll through the town square where memories lingered like the fragrance of nostalgia. Little did he know that this seemingly ordinary day would be the prelude to a tragedy that would unravel the threads of his life. The inciting incident arrived in the form of an accusatory finger, pointing at Robert as the perpetrator of a crime that sent shockwaves through the tight-knit community. The allegations, like sudden cracks in the foundation of trust, rippled through the town, leaving disbelief and suspicion in their wake. For Robert, the accusation was a surreal nightmare, a sudden plunge into a chilling abyss of uncertainty. As news of the accusation spread, the once warm and familiar faces of the town began to cast shadowed glances in Robert's direction. The bakery that had once greeted him with the aroma of fresh bread now carried an air of suspicion, and the town square, where laughter had once echoed, became a stage for whispered conversations and judgmental stares. The horizon that once promised continuity and familiarity cracked under the weight of unspoken doubts. The courtroom, a place where justice was meant to be blind, became the arena where Robert's fate was sealed. The imperfections in the system, like fault lines beneath the surface, emerged to cast a long shadow over his trial. The evidence presented seemed damning, the witnesses convincing, and the jury, guided by human fallibility, delivered a verdict that shattered Robert's world. Guilty, they declared, and in that moment, the horizon of his life crumbled into a jagged landscape of despair. Chapter 1 is a journey into the sudden and jarring rupture of Robert's reality. It explores the fragility of trust, the swift descent from normalcy to accusation, and the harrowing realization that justice, intended to be an unwavering beacon, can falter and cast innocent lives into the abyss of wrongful conviction. The broken horizon sets the stage for the unfolding tragedy, leaving us with a haunting question: how does one rebuild when the very foundation of trust and justice has been irreparably shattered?
Chapter 2: The Inescapable Web. As the gavel struck and the echoes of the guilty verdict reverberated through the courtroom, Robert Turner found himself ensnared in an inescapable web of consequences that extended far beyond the confines of the legal system. The small town, once a haven of familiarity, morphed into a labyrinth of suspicion, mistrust, and unanswered questions. In the aftermath of the trial, Robert, a man of modest means and simple dreams, grappled with the weight of accusations that seemed to cling to him like an invisible shroud. Friends he had known for years averted their gaze, their once warm smiles replaced by cold indifference. Neighbors, once eager to exchange pleasantries, now hurried past, their eyes betraying a mix of curiosity and doubt. The town, bound by the invisible threads of shared history, turned its back on Robert, leaving him isolated in a sea of skepticism. The inescapable web extended beyond the social fabric, penetrating the very essence of Robert's daily life. Employment opportunities dwindled as whispers of his alleged crime reached the ears of local businesses. The once open doors of the bakery, where he had exchanged morning pleasantries, now shut in his face. The rhythm of his routine became a dissonant melody, each note tinged with the bitter aftertaste of the accusations that hung over him like a perpetual storm cloud. Yet,
Robert's struggle was not confined to the external manifestations of suspicion. The internal turmoil, the gnawing realization that his own community had cast him aside, created a web of emotional anguish that tightened with each passing day. He was a prisoner not just of the physical walls that surrounded him, but of the intangible barriers that severed the ties he once held dear. In the face of this collective betrayal, Robert clung to the fragments of his innocence, his belief in the inherent goodness of humanity tested at every turn. Legal avenues for appeal became the lifelines he desperately grasped, navigating a labyrinthine system that seemed more concerned with finality than with the pursuit of truth. The inescapable web tightened its grip as bureaucratic hurdles and legal red tape became formidable barriers to justice. This chapter is a journey into the erosion of Robert's life, both external and internal. It explores the devastating consequences of a justice system that occasionally falters, leaving innocent lives entangled in the unforgiving threads of suspicion and doubt. The inescapable web weaves itself into every facet of Robert's existence, leaving him to grapple not only with the weight of false accusations, but with the profound isolation that accompanies the loss of trust and the relentless pursuit of justice.
Chapter 3: The Silent Cry. Behind the cold steel bars of his prison cell, Robert Turner faced the stark reality of his new existence. The once familiar world had crumbled, replaced by the harsh confines of a cell that echoed with the silent cries of injustice. In the solitude of confinement, Robert's struggle extended beyond the legal battle. It became a profound journey through the recesses of his own mind, where the silent cry of innocence clashed with the deafening roar of a system that had failed him. The prison walls, unyielding and impersonal, became the canvas upon which Robert painted the portrait of his despair. Days turned into nights as he grappled with the weight of accusations that stained his reputation and cast a shadow over the life he had known. The silence within those walls echoed with the silent cries of a man wronged, a man whose voice had been drowned out by the clamor of a flawed justice system. In the silent hours of the night, Robert's mind became a battleground. Memories of a life once filled with routine and camaraderie clashed with the accusatory whispers that lingered in the air. The silent cries of his innocence reverberated through the narrow confines of his cell, each plea for vindication met with the unyielding silence of cold, indifferent walls. Letters, written in desperation, became vessels for Robert's silent cries. Each missive, penned in the dim glow of a prison cell, carried the weight of unspoken pain and the fervent hope that somewhere beyond those walls, someone would listen, someone would hear the silent cry for justice. Yet, in the vast expanse of a legal system fraught with complexities and delays, his cries often fell on deaf ears. The silent cry extended beyond the prison cell, permeating the corridors of legal institutions where the machinery of justice moved at its own pace. Appeals and motions, each a desperate attempt to be heard, became the tools through which Robert sought to break free from the chains that bound him. Yet, the wheels of justice turned slowly, grinding away at the hope that flickered within him. As the silent cries persisted, the toll on Robert's spirit became increasingly palpable. The once vibrant soul, now confined and subdued, faced the relentless erosion of hope. The silent cry echoed not only in the hollow chambers of the prison but in the depths of his eyes, reflecting the anguish of a man who had become a casualty of a system that wielded its power with imperfect precision. Chapter 3 invites readers into the profound isolation of Robert's prison experience, where the silent cries of innocence resonate through the darkness. It explores the internal struggle as he grapples with the weight of false accusations, the anguish of solitude, and the silent yearning for justice in the face of an indifferent world. The narrative unfolds, capturing the essence of a man robbed not only of his freedom, but of the very voice that could proclaim his innocence to a world that had turned a deaf ear to his silent cry.
Chapter 4: The Fading Hope. As the hands of time pressed forward relentlessly, the prison walls held Robert Turner in a vice grip of despair. In Chapter 4, titled The Fading Hope, we delve into the profound journey of a man who confronted the cruel reality that hope, once a flickering flame within him, was slowly but surely fading away in the unforgiving embrace of incarceration. Days turned into weeks, and weeks into months, as Robert clung to the fragile strands of hope. Legal battles became a wearying routine, a series of uphill climbs against a mountain of bureaucratic hurdles and procedural complexities. Each denied appeal, each dismissed motion, cast a lengthening shadow on the already dimming beacon of hope that guided him through the darkness of false accusations. Within the confines of his prison cell, the fading hope became palpable. The once vivid dreams of exoneration, of a life beyond the cold steel bars, dimmed like a distant star swallowed by the night. The legal system, which should have been a source of solace and redemption, became an adversary, an insurmountable obstacle that eroded the very foundation of Robert's optimism. As the years marched on, hope's retreat mirrored the physical toll on Robert. The lines etched on his face told stories of sleepless nights and anxious days, of the relentless strain imposed by a system that seemed impervious to the cries of innocence. The flicker of determination in his eyes dimmed as the weight of injustice pressed down, threatening to extinguish the last vestiges of his indomitable spirit. Letters sent to lawyers and advocates carried not only legal arguments but the fading echoes of hope. Each rejection, a resounding blow, chipped away at the once robust optimism that had sustained Robert through the early years of incarceration. The prison library, a repository of legal tomes, offered little solace as the gap between legal theory and practical justice widened, casting doubt on the very system meant to protect the innocent. The fading hope extended beyond the prison walls, seeping into the hearts of those who once championed Robert's cause. Supporters, once fervent in their belief in his innocence, faced the relentless onslaught of time and skepticism. The initial rallying cries for justice waned, replaced by a weariness born of the seemingly interminable legal battles. Amidst the fading hope, a pervasive sense of injustice settled over Robert like a heavy fog. The promise of a fair trial and the swift rectification of errors seemed like distant mirages, always visible but forever out of reach. The prison cell, once a temporary abode, threatened to become a mausoleum for dreams, where hope, like a fragile butterfly, struggled in vain against the oppressive weight of reality. In Chapter 4, Readers witness the erosion of hope as Robert grapples with the relentless passage of time and the disillusionment bred by a justice system that seemed indifferent to the silent cries within its walls. It is a poignant exploration of the human spirit as it confronts the fading embers of optimism, a testament to the resilience required when confronted with the long and arduous journey toward exoneration.
Chapter 5: The Lost Years. In the hallowed corridors of the prison, where time unfolded in measured beats like a somber dirge, Robert Turner bore witness to the relentless march of the years. This chapter, aptly titled The Lost Years, takes us deep into the heart of a man whose existence had become synonymous with incarceration, a soul adrift in the sea of time, navigating the vast expanse of what should have been the prime of his life, now irrevocably lost. The walls of his prison cell, etched with the tally of days and months spent in captivity, stood as silent witnesses to the profound impact of the miscarriage of justice. Robert's once vibrant spirit, now weathered and worn by the ceaseless passage of time, bore the scars of a battle fought not on a distant battlefield, but within the confines of a justice system that had failed him. The lost years manifested not only in the visible signs of aging, but in the intangible toll on Robert's psyche. Dreams that once danced on the periphery of his consciousness now lingered as distant, faded memories. The vibrant tapestry of life he should have woven, a career, a family, the simple joys of existence, lay in tatters, torn asunder by the hands of an imperfect legal system. As the world outside continued its inexorable progression, the town that Robert had once called home transformed in ways he could scarcely fathom. Friends and acquaintances, once woven into the fabric of his daily life, existed now as echoes of the past. The cemetery, a poignant reminder of the relentless march of time, bore witness to the departure of those who had once shared the same sunlit streets, leaving Robert to confront the solitude of his own existence. The lost years were not merely a vacuum in time, but a void in Robert's personal history. Birthdays passed unnoticed, holidays faded into the background, and the milestones that mark a life, weddings, births, celebrations, unfolded beyond the prison bars, beyond the reach of a man wrongfully incarcerated. The narrative becomes a meditation on the profound human cost of a justice system that, in its fallibility, stole not just Robert's freedom, but the very essence of his being. In the silence of the prison cell, Robert confronted the gnawing reality that the world outside was slipping through his fingers like grains of sand. The lost years became a haunting refrain, a melody of missed opportunities, untaken chances, and the lingering question of what could have been. The echoes of a life half-lived reverberated through the prison corridors, an unspoken elegy for the stolen moments that could never be reclaimed. Yet, amidst the desolation of the lost years, Robert found a reservoir of resilience. In the quiet moments of introspection, he clung to the fragments of his identity, determined to salvage what remained of his spirit. The lost years, though a testament to the inefficacy of the justice system, became the crucible in which Robert's indomitable will was forged, a quiet rebellion against the erasure of his humanity. Chapter 5 unfolds as a poignant exploration of time's inexorable toll and the profound repercussions of the lost years. It invites readers to reflect on the intangible cost of a justice system that, when faltering, doesn't only imprison bodies but holds hostage the very essence of those wrongfully accused. The narrative becomes a plea for acknowledgement, an acknowledgement of the irreversible loss incurred when the hands of justice, imperfect and fallible, rob an individual of the irreplaceable currency of time.
Chapter 6: A Bitter Homecoming. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows over the town that once held the promise of familiarity, Robert Turner emerged from the prison gates, a free man in body but burdened by the weight of a bitter homecoming. The chapter titled, A Bitter Homecoming, unfolds as a haunting exploration of the aftermath of exoneration, where the shackles of incarceration are replaced by the stark realities of a world that had transformed during Robert's absence. The initial moments of freedom, often envisioned as a triumphant return to life's embrace, were instead tinged with a bitter irony. The town, now draped in the muted hues of twilight, stood as a tableau of memories altered by the hands of time. Robert, once a thread in the intricate tapestry of community life, found himself adrift in a sea of unfamiliarity. The bittersweet taste of freedom lingered as Robert navigated the streets that had borne witness to his innocence and subsequent incarceration. The faces that once reflected shared histories and camaraderie now regarded him with a curious detachment, the whispers of his past echoing in the silent spaces between conversations. A bitter homecoming unfolded, as the town that should have embraced him back into its fold became a landscape marked by the indelible stains of suspicion and unanswered questions. Family, the cornerstone of a grounded existence, proved elusive for Robert. The years of incarceration had scattered his kin like leaves in the wind. The warmth of familial ties had withered, leaving behind an emptiness that even freedom could not fill. A sense of estrangement settled over Robert as he faced the stark truth that, in his absence, bonds once thought unbreakable had frayed beyond repair. The bitter homecoming extended beyond the interpersonal dynamics to the physical landscape of the town. Streets he once navigated with purpose now felt like a maze of disorientation. The bakery, once a haven of morning pleasantries, had changed ownership, its aroma no longer carrying the comforting fragrance of familiarity. The town square, where laughter had once intertwined with the melodies of life, felt like a silent witness to the passage of time, bearing witness to the profound transformation Robert had missed. Employment, the lifeline of self-sufficiency, proved elusive for a man who had emerged from incarceration at the age of 65. The job market, indifferent to the circumstances of his wrongful conviction, rejected him with a callousness that mirrored the very system he had fought against. A bitter reality unfolded as Robert faced the harsh truth that, despite his exoneration, the world outside the prison walls offered little room for a man robbed of the prime of his life. As the bitterness of the homecoming settled within him, Robert sought refuge in the familiar embrace of the town's social services. The benevolence of strangers became his lifeline, offering a modicum of support in a world that had otherwise forsaken him. The bitter homecoming, marked by fractured relationships and the unrelenting cruelty of circumstance, compelled Robert to confront not only the external challenges but the internal scars left by the erosion of hope and the disintegration of a life once known. Chapter 6 is a poignant exploration of the complexities that accompany freedom after wrongful incarceration. It is a narrative that examines the bitter aftermath of exoneration, where the ties that bind a person to community, family, and the self are strained to the point of rupture. As Robert faces the bitter realities of a world that moved on without him, readers are invited to contemplate the profound and often overlooked challenges of rebuilding a life after the bitter taste of a homecoming tainted by the shadows of the past.
Chapter 7: The Empty Welcome. The sun hung low in the sky as Robert Turner stepped hesitantly onto the familiar but now alien streets of his hometown. Freedom, an elusive prize won after 2 decades of wrongful incarceration, should have heralded a jubilant return, a celebration of justice finally prevailing. Instead, Chapter 7, titled The Empty Welcome, unravels as a poignant exploration of the hollowness that accompanied Robert's reentry into a world that had moved forward without him. The townsfolk, once the custodians of shared memories and the keepers of communal bonds, greeted Robert with a reception that echoed the dissonance between his expectations and reality. The welcome, or lack thereof, mirrored the indescribable rift that had grown between him and the town during his absence. The once warm smiles now carried a tinge of awkwardness, the greetings hesitant and laden with unspoken questions that lingered in the air. The town, now draped in the soft hues of twilight, seemed to whisper the passage of time that Robert had missed. The storefronts had changed, the landmarks had shifted, and the very fabric of the community had woven itself into a new tapestry, leaving Robert to navigate the unfamiliar contours of a place that was both his home and a foreign land. Family, the bastion of support and understanding, remained elusive. The years behind bars had splintered the familial bonds that should have provided solace in the face of adversity. The once vibrant connections had withered, leaving Robert to grapple not only with the physical absence of loved ones, but with the emotional void that their departure had left behind. As he walked through the town square, once bustling with life, Robert became acutely aware of the empty welcome that surrounded him. The laughter that had once echoed off the brick walls was replaced by an eerie silence, a void that mirrored the emotional chasm between him and the community. The town square, a symbol of shared experiences, stood as a solemn reminder of the life he had lost. Employment, a critical component of rebuilding a life, proved to be an insurmountable challenge. The job market, indifferent to the circumstances of his wrongful conviction, rejected Robert with a callousness that mirrored the very system he had fought against. The once reliable handshake and resume were met with closed doors, leaving him to confront the harsh reality that age and the stigma of incarceration had rendered him unemployable. With family scattered, employment elusive, and the town transformed beyond recognition, Robert sought solace in the embrace of social services. The benevolence of strangers provided the basics for survival, but it couldn't fill the emotional void left by the empty welcome of a town that had ostensibly moved on without him. The empty welcome extended beyond the tangible interactions to the intangible spaces within Robert's psyche. The sense of alienation, of being a stranger in one's own home, became a weight that he carried with each step. The very concept of home, once a sanctuary, now felt like an elusive destination, forever just out of reach. In Chapter 7, The Empty Welcome, readers witness the somber aftermath of Robert's release. A homecoming marred by fractured connections, unspoken questions, and the daunting challenge of reintegrating into a world that had evolved in his absence. It is an exploration of the emotional toll exacted by a justice system that, in its imperfections, not only robbed Robert of his freedom but left him to grapple with the echoes of an empty welcome. A haunting reminder of the profound isolation that accompanies the pursuit of justice after years of wrongful incarceration.
Chapter 8: The Unforgiving Clock. As the seasons changed and the town continued its rhythmic existence, Robert Turner found himself caught in the unrelenting grasp of an unforgiving clock. This chapter, aptly titled The Unforgiving Clock, delves into the intricate complexities of a life marked by the inexorable passage of time, where the hands of the clock seemed determined to measure out the remaining chapters of Robert's existence with a merciless precision. At 65, an age where many hope to enjoy the fruits of a life well lived, Robert faced the sobering reality of a job market that viewed his advanced age through a lens of skepticism. Employment, a key component of self-sufficiency and personal fulfillment, became an elusive pursuit. The ticking of the unforgiving clock echoed in each job application submitted, in every door closed, leaving Robert to confront the poignant truth that, despite his exoneration, the world outside the prison walls offered little respite for a man who had lost 2 decades to the flawed gears of justice. The narrative unfolds as a poignant exploration of the internal and external struggles that accompany unemployment. Robert, once a productive member of society, grappled with the paradox of freedom and limitation. The dreams of rebuilding a life, shattered by the bars of his cell, faced the formidable obstacle of ageism, a silent force that rendered his skill set obsolete in a rapidly evolving job market. The unforgiving clock extended beyond the realm of employment to the intangible spaces of Robert's daily life. The physical toll of incarceration, coupled with the emotional scars of wrongful conviction, compounded the challenges of starting anew. The once vibrant spirit now navigated the world with the weight of missed opportunities, an awareness that time, once the ally of progress, had become an adversary, marching forward with a relentless determination. The town, too, continued its march through the seasons, oblivious to the struggles of one man trying to catch up with the unforgiving clock. The friends and acquaintances who once shared moments of camaraderie had moved forward with their lives, leaving Robert to confront not only the isolation of unemployment but the haunting echoes of solitude. The unforgiving clock manifested in the quiet moments of introspection, where Robert grappled with the profound question of identity and purpose. The narratives of productivity and achievement, once integral to his sense of self, faced the relentless erosion of time, leaving him to confront the reality that the prime of his life had been stolen, replaced by the ticking reminder of what could have been. Yet, amidst the relentless march of the unforgiving clock, Robert found resilience in the quiet moments. The pursuit of knowledge, self-improvement, and the cultivation of new skills became his silent rebellion against the limitations imposed by age and circumstance. The narrative unfolds as a testament to the indomitable spirit within, a spirit that refused to be eclipsed by the shadow of an unforgiving clock. Chapter 8 invites readers to contemplate the intersection of age, justice, and the pursuit of a meaningful existence. It is a narrative that explores the complexities of rebuilding a life when time, once an ally, becomes a relentless adversary. As Robert faces the challenges of unemployment and the pervasive stigma of age, the unforgiving clock becomes a metaphor for the struggle against both the external and internal forces that seek to define the remaining chapters of his life.
Chapter 9: The Benevolence of Strangers. In the tapestry of Robert Turner's post-incarceration life, Chapter 9, titled The Benevolence of Strangers, unfolds as a poignant exploration of the human capacity for empathy, compassion, and the interconnectedness that binds individuals together in unexpected ways. This chapter chronicles Robert's journey through the maze of social services and the uncharted terrain of relying on the benevolence of strangers to rebuild a life fractured by wrongful conviction and the unforgiving passage of time. With the doors of traditional employment firmly closed, Robert found himself navigating the labyrinthine channels of social services, a safety net for those whose lives had been derailed by circumstance. The benevolence of strangers, the unsung heroes of social support systems, became the lifeline that sustained him in a world that had turned a blind eye to the injustices he endured. The narrative unfolds as a mosaic of encounters with individuals whose paths intersected with Robert's, each one a beacon of hope in the face of adversity. Social workers, advocates, and volunteers emerged as the architects of a support system that extended beyond the material provisions of shelter and sustenance. Their benevolence became the cornerstone of Robert's resilience, offering not only practical assistance but a reminder that, even in the darkest corners of life, there existed pockets of compassion. The shelter, a humble refuge provided by the benevolence of strangers, became a temporary haven for Robert. The shared spaces and communal living, though far from the life he once knew, echoed with a camaraderie that transcended societal judgments. The bonds forged in the crucible of shared struggles mirrored the human capacity to find solace and connection even in the most challenging of circumstances. Meals served in community kitchens became not just a means of sustenance but a communal experience, a tangible representation of the benevolence that sustained Robert through his trials. Shared stories, laughter, and the communal breaking of bread became a testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the ability of strangers to create a sense of belonging even in the face of displacement. The benevolence of strangers extended beyond the confines of shelters and community kitchens. Advocates and volunteers, impassioned by the cause of justice, offered their time and expertise to help Robert navigate the complex web of bureaucracy and legal intricacies. Their dedication became a manifestation of the collective desire to right the wrongs inflicted upon an innocent man. As Robert faced the challenges of rebuilding, the benevolence of strangers also manifested in the form of mentorship and guidance. Individuals, motivated by a shared sense of humanity, offered assistance in developing new skills, creating a bridge between the past and an uncertain future. the narrative becomes a testament to the transformative power of benevolence, proving that even in the face of societal indifference, there exist individuals willing to extend a helping hand. Chapter 9 is a celebration of the inherent goodness that resides within the human spirit. It explores the profound impact of the benevolence of strangers on an individual grappling with the aftermath of wrongful incarceration. As Robert leans on the support of those who, in their altruism, become the architects of his resurgence, readers are invited to reflect on the potential for kindness to heal wounds, rebuild lives, and rekindle hope in the most unexpected of circumstances.
Chapter 10: The Resilience of the Human Spirit. Amidst the intricate dance of adversity and triumph, Chapter 10 unfolds as a testament to the indomitable force within every human being, the resilience of the human spirit. In the chronicles of Robert Turner's journey, this chapter, aptly titled The Resilience of the Human Spirit, explores the profound capacity of individuals to rise above seemingly insurmountable challenges, rebuild shattered lives, and forge a new narrative in the aftermath of profound injustice. As Robert navigates the complexities of life after wrongful incarceration, the resilience of his spirit becomes the guiding force in the face of relentless trials. It is a narrative of courage and tenacity, of an individual refusing to be defined solely by the circumstances that sought to break him. The journey through social services, shelter life, and the challenges of unemployment becomes a canvas upon which the resilience of the human spirit paints its most vivid strokes. Robert, once confined within the walls of a prison cell, discovers an inner strength that propels him forward, propelling him through the hurdles of societal stigma and the weight of lost years. The narrative unfolds as a mosaic of moments that illuminate the intricacies of resilience. Each setback, each closed door, becomes a mere punctuation mark in the larger story of determination and perseverance. The struggles of unemployment, the challenges of reintegrating into a transformed community, and the emotional toll of fractured relationships converge in a symphony of resilience that crescendos with each step forward. The shelter, initially a symbol of displacement, transforms into a crucible where the resilience of the human spirit is tested and refined. Robert's ability to find camaraderie and create connections in the face of adversity reflects the innate human need for community, and the strength that can be drawn from shared struggles. The benevolence of strangers, explored in the previous chapter, becomes not just a source of support but a testament to the resilience embedded in collective human compassion. Advocates, volunteers, and mentors offer not only practical assistance but also become catalysts for the restoration of agency and hope, a reminder that, even in the darkest moments, the human spirit possesses an irrepressible flame. The pursuit of knowledge and the cultivation of new skills emerge as acts of defiance against the limitations imposed by age and circumstance. The resilience of the human spirit is reflected in Robert's determination to adapt, learn, and grow, an acknowledgement that personal evolution is a cornerstone of overcoming life's most formidable challenges. The town, once a silent witness to Robert's wrongful conviction, undergoes a subtle metamorphosis. As Robert reconstructs his life, the resilience of the human spirit radiates from the community itself. The narratives of isolation and skepticism gradually yield to stories of redemption and shared humanity, illustrating the transformative power that resilience can have not only on an individual, but on the collective consciousness. In the finale of this compelling narrative, readers witness Robert's emergence as a symbol of resilience, a beacon of inspiration for those who face their own battles with injustice and adversity. The resilience of the human spirit, brilliantly illustrated through his experiences, becomes a universal truth that transcends the confines of one man's story. Chapter 10, The Resilience of the Human Spirit, concludes the saga of Robert Turner with a resounding affirmation of the unwavering strength that resides within every individual. It invites readers to reflect on the boundless capacity for renewal, growth, and triumph that defines the human spirit, a force capable of transforming tragedy into triumph, injustice into resilience, and despair into a testament of enduring hope.